Scary stories from India are grave enough to freak you out and give you nightmares for a whole week. From a lady with no face to a witch possessing a woman. These top stories give the worst chills. Get ready to explore the world of extremely dangerous and spooky paranormal activities, where the next step might endanger your life. Keep watching till the end if you want to know more about the lady who burst into flame. In your thrill, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this bone-chilling video. It's about to get witchy. When I was 12, we lived with my maternal grandmother in Gujarat, India. I remember my nanny telling us scary stories from her past. Whenever we forced our grandmother, whom we also called Nanny, to tell a scary story, she would always be comfortable. But I remember her shaking while she told the story of the lady by the river. My nanny lived in Rajkot, Gujarat when the incident happened. She was just 14 years old at the time. A river flowed by their village, and my nanny used to go there to wash clothes. However, many people gathered during the day, and washing clothes in a bustling crowd was frustrating. So one day, my nanny decided to wake up early and go to wash the clothes when no one was there. She woke up at 5 o'clock the next day and went to the river. She was happy no one was around, and squatted by the riverbank to wash her clothes. Half an hour later, a lady in a traditional white sari came and sat 2 meters away from her. She had covered her head traditionally too. As only the two of them were by the riverbank, my nanny tried to start a conversation. However, the lady did not reply to even one of her statements. She just kept looking forward and did not even face my nanny. A few minutes later, my nanny began to feel uneasy and asked the lady if anything was troubling her. She inched towards her, but stopped midway, horrified. The lady had turned her head, and the sight made Nanny skip a heartbeat. The lady had no face. She was a churail, a witch. My nanny describes it as an ashy fog where the face should have been. My nanny screamed and left her wash clothes and everything on the riverbank, while she ran to her home at full speed. After that day, my nanny always washed the clothes during the daytime when the river was crowded. I was a little boy when my great-uncle told me a scary story that belonged to his past. The terrifying incident happened during one of his visits to India. When my great-uncle went to meet his cousins, they told him that as it was summertime, they would sleep in the courtyard. However, they told him he could not sleep in a particular corner because it was haunted and a jinn slept there. If anyone placed their bedding there, strange things happened to them. My great-uncle thought it was nonsense and decided to sleep in that corner anyway. When he woke up the next day, he found himself at the other corner of the courtyard. At first, he was surprised, then thought his cousins were pranking him. He decided to sleep in that corner again that night. He wrote a note and left it on the side of his pillow saying, "Don't play jokes on me. There is no jinn." That night, my great-uncle was strangely awakened by someone. He was forcefully pushed to the ground, and his bedding was flung away from that corner. A note fell on his lap. "I sleep here. Stay away." My father went to Dubai to start a business in 2012, when I, a Dedi Prem, was about 11. There, he earned enough money to fulfill all our needs and build our house in Punjab, India. Our house was under construction when my father began to remain ill. Due to continued sickness, my father lost his business and started doing a job. That job gave him a low salary, and we couldn't complete our house. Although the house's structure had been made enough to provide shelter, the finishing had not been done. My family moved there. One night, I suddenly felt my blanket thrown away. It fell near the door. I thought it was a dream when a lady in all white with 2 bloody Dracula teeth bent over me and said in a husky voice, "You all are going to have a bad time. I will never let you live happily." She then crackled with crazy laughter and scratched my face with her long, dirty nails. When I woke up the next day, I was surprised to see that my blanket was near the door, exactly where it had been in the dream. Plus, when I looked in the mirror, I saw scratches on my face. It had not been a dream. It was reality. Later, the witch proved her words. My father came back from Dubai and couldn't work anymore. He was disabled and had to stay home all day. My grandfather was diagnosed with deadly cancer that took his life away only a few years later. My father also passed away at the age of 52, and now my mother also has kidney failure at the age of 53. After many years, we've learned that someone had done evil black magic on us. It destroyed everything. Nothing can be changed now, as almost everyone has passed away. My mother is lovely and stunning. I, Naina, was just 2 years old when my mother encountered a strange paranormal activity. She was just 20 at the time and had long flowing hair. Her hair also had a golden touch because of our Arab ancestors. Anyway, it was my khala's, or you can say aunt's wedding, when my mother underwent something intensely horrible and downright frightening. My khala's, or aunt's wedding, was arranged on the ground beside our school. The school was rumored to be haunted, and different, vague, but creepy stories were told about it. At the event, my mother wore a black silk sari that looked gorgeous on her, and she let her shiny hair open. It is said that open hair attracts the supernatural and paranormal species. It must be so, because only a few days after the wedding, my mother became extremely sick. Some said it was the exhaustion after the wedding, but my mother's illness was strange. No one understood what was happening. Then, one day, my mother's grandfather came to our house. He was an imam, a religious priest, knowledgeable in these things. He judged that there was some paranormal activity and that a witch must have possessed her. He started to recite religious prayers, and a strange, high-pitched voice came out of my mother. It was a witch. She had possessed her from the school. She said she had done it because she found my mom very beautiful. Also, she had always wanted to be attractive. She told my mother's grandfather that she wouldn't leave my mom until death. My grandfather persuaded her that my mother had a 2-year-old daughter she had to look after. She must leave my mother, but the witch never agreed. My grandfather tried a lot of treatments to recover my mom. He suggested that the witch take his life and leave my mother. After 10 days of treatment, my great-grandfather died, and at the same time, my mother became perfectly healthy and has been so since then. My uncle used to tell me a story of his past that still gives him the chills. One early morning, he was working in his fields in Ludhiana when a beautiful young lady came to their fields. He was watering the crops from a well in the fields when he saw that the woman was dressed in fancy clothes, anklets, and a necklace. She was also holding a baby. This was strange, but it became even stranger when she knelt down and drank the dirty water from the fields. My uncle was alarmed and offered to give her clean water from the well, but she just ignored him and went out to the banyan tree near the fields. My uncle went inside and called my grandfather and other uncles, but when they approached the lady, she got up, ran away, and then flew high into the sky. A few seconds later, she burst into flames as high as the tree itself, leaving them all in shock and terror. Later, they found out that many years back, a woman had done suicide along with her child by jumping into the well on the night of her brother-in-law's wedding. This meant that our well was haunted. My grandfather conducted a prayer near the banyan tree, and the witch was never seen or heard of again. If you like these stories, don't hesitate to like and subscribe to the channel for more thrilling content. Stay tuned and stay safe.